for financial year 2026-2027. And she indicated that the ministerial policy statements for all the ministries should be submitted to Cabinet by Thursday, 12th March 2026. That is Thursday this week, that all ministerial policy statements should have been submitted. She also indicated the time frame for submission of the budget estimates to Parliament, which is 26th March and 1st April. That around that time, they will be presenting the budget to Parliament. And concluded by saying that the purpose of this letter, therefore, is to remind you the timelines in order to adjust the plan accordingly. So when this was brought to us, together with the second budget call circular, we called for a crisis meeting, an emergency meeting rather, of the State Executive Committee that sat on Tuesday last week to receive the budget estimates from the Executive Director as our accounting officer, and then to finalize the process of preparing the ministerial policy statement, which we are going to submit to our minister for Kampala for onward transmission to Cabinet, and thereafter for Parliament. Now, we got a shock of our life. This is the ministerial policy statement we are preparing, and we got a shock of our life that the budget has been slashed down from 916 billion, that is the current appropriation 2025-2026, the financial year which ends in June, to 720. You can imagine the percentage reduction. Down from 916 to 720, representing a decrease of 233 billion Uganda shillings. 233, which has been scrapped off, removed from our budget. We were pressed between a rock and a hard surface. Under the law, the KCC Act and the Public Finance Management Act, as the State Executive Committee, we are required to process the budget. Specifically, when you look at Section 27E, the Executive Director, who is the accounting officer, is a technical advisor to the State Executive Committee presided over by the Lord Mayor. So we are seated in a meeting on Tuesday, and we were asking ourselves questions which up to now have not been answered. How are we going to carry out these appropriations with this huge budget cut of 233 billion, down from 916 to 720? With the key priorities left out. Then we looked at the history of this institution, which has been characterized by budget cuts and underfunding. I said, what do we do under the circumstances? If I may just highlight some of these issues. For the financial year, no, the planning period, not financial year. For the planning period, 2015-2016, 2019-2020, the annual budget was supposed to be 805 billion per year. 805 billion. Unfortunately, oh, sorry. So sorry. For that planning period, 2014 to 2019, our total estimates were 5.1 trillion for the entire period. 5.1 trillion. What was remitted to us was 2.4 trillion during that period. Because we have had my tenure here 3 terms. For the first term, okay, the 3 strategic plans we have had during my term. The first one, the first strategic plan, the total cost was 5.1 trillion. But at the end of that planning period, 2014-2019, we had only remitted 2.4 trillion. You will see the annual transfers, grants they used to give. That was the first planning period. For the second planning period, it was, that is 21 to 2025. The total amount for that whole period was supposed to be 10.3 trillion. Translating into 2.1 trillion annually. Unfortunately, by the close of that planning period, we had only received 3 trillion, representing 28%. Now, we have made a new strategic plan. I have not brought those other strategic plans. This is now the new one. 2025, 2026, 2029, 2030. This is the new strategic plan that we adopted in 2025. And the projection was that by close of this planning period, government ought to have remitted to us a total sum of 11.9 trillion. 11.9 trillion. For the period of 5 years, 2026, 2030. 11.9 trillion. Meaning, every financial year, they should be remitting to us 2.4 trillion. What has happened? The first year of the planning, of this planning, or the first year of the implementation of this plan, 2026, 2027, sorry, I need to repeat this. The first of the implementation of this plan, 2025, 2026, which is ending in June 2026, they gave us 916 billion. That is the first planning year of this period. The second year of implementation of the strategic plan is now the one under consideration, 2026, 2027, where they expected to give us 2.4 trillion. They have instead brought it down to 720 billion. I need to repeat this and I make a conclusion. The year of the implementation of this new strategic plan, which requires 111.9 trillion for a period of 5 years, the first year, 2025-2026, the appropriation to KCCA was 916 billion. Yet, that financial year, they ought to have remitted to us 2.1 trillion. No, 2.4 trillion. Now, the second year of the implementation, where again we are expecting 2.4 trillion, they are instead cutting it to 720 billion. And these are some of the key interventions that had been projected to be achieved. Number one, Road network improvement to reduce the average travel time across the state roads from 4.2 minutes per kilometer to 3 minutes per kilometer to address the problem of traffic jam. 2. Implementation of the Kampala Drainage Master Plan, which is in its last year of implementation in order to address Kampala's persistent incessant floods with its associated vagaries. This is a 10-year strategic, plan, development plan 2016-2026. This is its final year of implementation. And again, we shall be talking about the remittances, the allocations made. Decommissioning and repurposing of Chitez landfill and construction of a new modern waste treatment facility at Buyala, as well as implementation of council resolution having a garbage truck per parish, one garbage truck per parish. We had planned to repurpose Chitez, decommission it, repurpose it, and then create a state-of-the-art recycling plant at Buyala. This financial year, no money has been allocated towards that. And also, the policy of having one garbage truck per parish. We have 100 parishes. That has also not been financed. Implementation of the presidential directive of constructing 2 markets in each of the city divisions of Kampala to cater for the urban poor, as well as expedition of completion of Chitintale market. Supposed to construct 2 markets per division and also complete Chitintale. No money has been allocated for that particular purpose. Completion of the Kampala physical development plans with a priority focus on high-capacity-based public transport system, climate resilience, equitable wetland restoration, and slum upgrading. All these are plans which are in the pipeline, but they have not been given money for that, for implementation. Public transport, climate resilience, equitable wetland restoration, slum upgrading, nothing. Implementation of the Kampala street lighting master plan to achieve 100% citywide lighting coverage, because that's what we had planned. Nothing. Then completion of Philip Omondi Stadium and development of school and community sporting facilities, as well as public and public health, and so on and so forth. Nothing. Rehabilitation, expansion, equipping, and upgrading of KCC health facilities to city hospitals, because we wanted all the 8 now, the 8 health facilities to be upgraded to health, to hospital status. Nothing. School infrastructure development, and so on and so forth. Now, what is it that we are doing? As the State Executive Committee, charged with the duty of preparing the budget and presenting it to Council, we have been constrained to do so. We have rather been unable to do so. When we sat in the meeting on Tuesday with the technical team here, it turned out to be a lamentation debate, forum. We were just lamenting with the technical team about the budget cuts, and we ended up not making any input or any allocations as the State Executive Committee. The figures that were given down to us by the Ministry of Kampala, from the Ministry of Finance, for consideration are here. But we couldn't make any meaningful allocation out of those figures with this huge budget cut. Yet, the time is running out. The directive of the Prime Minister is that by Thursday, we should have submitted our budget estimates to Cabinet. So we asked the Speaker to call Council today. We present this problem to them and find a way out. That to Parliament, to the Speaker of Parliament, so that they can prevail over Cabinet to honor the commitments they made under the new strategic plan of remitting to KCCA at least 3% of the budget, that is 2.4 trillion annually, instead of giving us peanuts or giving the institution peanuts. So I've written to the Speaker over the same. Otherwise, the ideals enshrined in this strategic plan will remain a pipe dream. You know for sure, by May, I'll be out of this place. Before end of May, I'll be out of this place. I don't want to leave this institution with this shell called the budget, which is hollow, which has got nothing. And then you find the problems with those who will be here. No. So we want this to be addressed by Parliament so that the next financial year, those who will be here, at least will find some reasonable budget as per the commitments made. Two, and most importantly, I would like also to see the vision I presided over here achieved. I want it to be realized, whether I'm here or not, because I'm not going to be here Saturday. But even after I have gone, I would like to see this vision realized. I'm afraid if this money is not allocated, even those who will come here after me will find it difficult to implement what we have left on paper. So I would like to see that the vision that I'm going to leave on paper here in this very important and vital instrument called the strategic plan implemented. And the only way it can be implemented is by government making substantial allocations to the key priorities that we have encapsulated in this instrument. The institution only 720 billion, yet the commitment was that every financial year will be giving 2.4 trillion. They are just going to burn their fingers. What is it that will be done with 720 billion, yet the projection is 2.4 trillion? So it's the reason I had to raise these pertinent issues with the Office of the Speaker of Parliament, so that Parliament can prevail over Cabinet to ensure that they honor their commitment in this. That is of particular concern to me, and this brings me to the second issue, if I tackle it. Of particular concern, this budget cut comes at a time when the city is faced with the menace of floods, when there is public outcry. We have the Kampala Drainage Master Plan we have always talked about, 2016-2026, and it required a sum of $220 million US. Every financial year, the commitment was the government would remit $22 million US. Since then, they have not been giving us money, and it has not been financed. Now, as we speak today, in this 720 billion, not even a single coin has been allocated towards construction of any of the major drainage channels in Kampala. We have 9 major drainage channels which were identified in the Kampala Drainage Master Plan to be fixed. And in total, you see, the commitment we made here, if I may read out to you. I'm sorry, I will show you something here very interesting in this strategic plan, where we made a commitment I will show you something here. 25 junctions, 11.3 trillion. Upgrading and reconstruction of 325 kilometers of state roads, including completion of key projects such as KCRRP, GKMA, Chorus, and a couple of others. Then installation